Hey guys, Jonathan here at Trionic 7. Today I'm out in my wife's 2006 Saab 9.5 Vector, our wagon in the family. My main task today is to switch to summer tires, but while we're at it, it's a good idea to tension the handbrake, since we already have lifted the rear of the car and taken the rear wheels off. So if the handbrake on your Saab 9.5 is getting a little weak, this is the first thing you should try. It doesn't take very long and it can give tremendous results. But if you're not able to get the brakes to work even with adjusting the handbrake, you might have to look into actually replacing the handbrake shoes. So currently the handbrake on this car actually works pretty well, but I have to pull the lever quite high up before they start to work. So I hope I'll be able to make the handbrake grip with more power, grip evenly, and grip without having to pull the lever too hard. First thing we want to do is obviously to lift the rear of the car and to get the rear wheels off. And we're just gonna breeze through it this time. You have my video already that shows in detail how to replace the wheels on your car. So I'd refer you to that video for full details. But as always, practice safe lifting. I've put the car in gear and I'm blocking off the front wheels with some blocks. Since when lifting the rear of the car, we'll be lifting those wheels that have the handbrake. And we're on a slight incline today, so I want to block off the rear wheels to make sure the car doesn't roll backwards. Also, note that we have the strangest weather today. I am switching to summer tires now, but it's actually snowing. I mean, we're in the south of Sweden, we're in end of April, and the sun is out, but it's still snowfall. It's just strange this year. We'll break the bolts loose. As always, I'm using my breaker bar with a 17mm socket and the extension. Again, we're lifting under the tow hook, because that's what the manual says for this car. And now we fully remove the bolts and the rear wheels. I'll be using this wheel as a safety. So the left side is off. I'm not going to do the same thing on the other side. This is so strange. Snowfall is intensifying. Alright, so here's the rear brake disc. You see these are the smaller brakes for the 9.5, the solid ones that is included in all cars except for the Aero, the top model. And inside this hub, inside the brake rotor, we have the handbrake shoes. And they push out towards the inside of the brake rotor. So we'll be rotating the rotor until this hole here between the threaded holes is in the top side. And there are two handbrake shoes, one in the front and one in the rear, and they push out towards the innards of the brake rotor. Now the resting distance of these handbrake shoes are adjusted with a little screw that goes essentially here, front to back. And on this screw there's somewhat of a cog, and we'll use a flat screwdriver and we'll put it inside here and try to lift or sink those cogs, which will turn the screw and adjust the position of the brake shoes. Now I would have wanted to show this on camera, but essentially we're poking a screwdriver inside a hole. It's almost impossible to show you. But you'll need a good light source here so you can actually see inside the hole and make sure you're actually turning on the cogs and on nothing else. Because annoyingly, just in front of the cogs is one of the springs, the return springs of the handbrakes. So if you just poke the screwdriver inside here and poke around without seeing what you're doing, you might be able to mess up this return spring, and that's not very good. Also, you want to know the direction of turning. On the left side, turning the cog up will make the brake shoes get on tighter. And it's the opposite on the right side of the car, because it's the same screw and we're poking it from the other direction. So here left we go up to make it tighter, and on the right side we go down to make it tighter. I have fully released the handbrake lever in the car, and I've tensioned the left side now so that it just barely is gripping onto the brake rotor. Now I want to reverse it, that means going down slightly so that it just goes free of the handbrake shoes. Then we'll have our first setup position. And this is a job that will actually be much easier on the lift, since I've had to find myself in an awkward position actually lying on the ground here, holding the light with one hand like this and poking inside the screwdriver with the other. But let's keep this video safe for work, alright? Okay, I think this is good. The wheel is just barely turning and the handbrake shoes are just not touching currently. Now I will go inside and I will tension the handbrake lever 3 clicks, and I want to make sure it is deadlocked by then. Alright, so 3 clicks now done. It was so tight I almost couldn't get 3 clicks to engage, and that shows how much more tension I have on the handbrake now than before. Before I had to put at least 4 clicks before the handbrake shoes even started to have any effect on the car. And by now it's completely locked. So right now when the handbrake is off, the wheel spins freely, and at 3 clicks it's completely locked the left side of the car. And this means we're done with the first step of adjusting the handbrake. I will now go to the other side of the car and do the same thing. And then I'll show you how to tension the handbrake cable. Back in a second. Alright, so at this point you are 99% done. You've done the hardest part, so you can give yourself a good pat on the back. The last thing you can do now is to adjust the actual handbrake wire. I'm not even sure I need this in this car, but I'll show you guys anyway so you can know how to do it. Now you can be happy that you have a Saab 9.5 and not a Saab 9.3, because then you need to go under the car. In the 9.5 we can just do it from the comfort of the driver's seat. So down here in this compartment, empty it out, and then there's a rubber mat on the bottom of it. And you want to grab it and pull it out. Here we go. This is probably very dirty on your car too. Now let me get a little light here. Okay, this video will essentially be, just trust me, there's a screw down there. It's almost too dark to be seen. But down there is a little adjustment nut. It's a 10mm size. But I will use a 10mm long socket, get it down there and adjust the nut. And the adjustment we're aiming for is that when we're at one click, we want the wheels to be locked. So pull the lever up 1 click, go out, check the brakes. Are they locked on? That's great. Let the lever go out, check the brakes so that they do rotate. And if not, adjust the nut accordingly. And then you're done. But please, don't do this adjustment before we've done the adjustment back at the handbrake shoes, because then it will mess up the configuration. Alright, so just as I thought, I didn't have to adjust the nut inside the car at all. It grips perfectly on just 1 click on the lever. So essentially all you need to do is to make sure that the brake shoes are just not engaging when you have the lever off. And then as soon as you pull the lever, the wire will tension and then the handbrakes will lock. So that's it. That's how you adjust the handbrakes on your Saab 9.5. If this procedure didn't help for you, well, you might have to replace the handbrake wire and or replace the brake shoes. So here in Sweden you need a fully functional handbrake to pass inspection, and a little trick you can use is to do this adjustment just before you go to the inspection station. It's quite common on these Saabs, unfortunately, that after a few weeks the handbrake will start to get worse after this adjustment. So if you do this just before, the inspection guy will be really happy for those great handbrakes you have. So this procedure is actually quite easy as soon as you find the cog that adjusts the screw. This little screw can actually be a bit tricky to adjust sometimes. It can also rust a little bit and become seized, and then you have to do a full handbrake job anyway. But my wife will be very happy to have a functional handbrake now. I will continue this work by putting on the summer wheels, both in the rear and in the front, and I will see you guys in the next Saab video. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to check out our social media and also subscribe to our videos here if you want to see more Trionic 7. I'm out, see you soon again, bye.